Integrated competency-based education. Before we begin, let's try to understand what do we mean by competency-based education. CBE. It's an approach to teaching and learning where students progress through a curriculum by demonstrating mastery of specific skills and knowledge rather than moving through based on time. So this could be compared to earning a driver's license. So for example, you can learn how to drive from your father or friend or even a driving school. The source of learning really doesn't matter as long as you acquire the necessary skills. You may take the driving test several times, maybe fail, but you won't receive the license until you actually demonstrate full competence behind the wheel. So similarly, in CBE, students can learn in different ways at their own pace. But credit is only granted once those students prove mastery of the required competencies. In this model, time is flexible rather than being fixed. So one student can complete a course in just 5 weeks and earn maybe an entire bachelor's degree in 2.5 years. Another student progressing at a slower pace may need to take 21 weeks to finish one single course, which is a lot, But at the same time, they can finish maybe in 7 years or 8 years. So both students will reach the same destination, which is mastery of the required competencies, but through timelines that reflect their individual learning paths. In other words, the traditional 4-year, 8-semester structure no longer applies. So students progress and ultimately graduate when they demonstrate mastery, not when the semester ends. So again, time is flexible, learning is fixed. However, there is a major problem with this challenge. Most universities operate within a credit hour framework, where progress is measured by seat time rather than demonstrating competence. This creates friction between the flexibility of CBE, competency-based education, and the rigid structure of traditional academic calendars. Also poses a problem when we're talking about grading systems and even accreditation rules. Now, from this was born the integrated competency-based education. Now, this system focuses also on mastery of knowledge and skills, but within the confines of the traditional education system. This approach offers a student-centered learning experience with some level of differentiation and personalization. It requires careful redesign of course content, the pedagogy needs to be thought through, and of course assessment needs to be changed. And speaking of this, we need 2 major requirements to apply the integrated competency-based education. Number 1, we need to have continuous access to course content, and we also need to have flexible, mastery-focused or mastery-based assessment. So let me begin by explaining the background. How did I come about understanding this? My journey towards adopting ICBE really began several years ago when I was teaching an accounting course. That's what I do, I teach accounting courses. This course was structured, of course, around multiple learning competencies. And when we came to high-stake exams, the questions on the exams were designed to assess each one of those learning competencies. Over time, I noticed a troubling pattern. Some students never fully answered the questions correctly, and some even failed the exam, but still were able to work around the projects and the other assessment components, participation, etc. They were able to pass the course. So this inconsistency raised a red flag for me. It became clear that passing a course does not necessarily mean that they have mastered the students. They have not mastered the core competencies within that particular course. So from here, I wanted to create a system where I would meet my students where they are in their learning process. So for example, I would ask the following questions. Why should a high achieving student be held back when they can progress faster than others. Another question, now this is aimed to a different set of students. Why should an academically challenged student be rushed to finish when they're just not ready? So from here, I wanted to create advantages and benefits to those two different sets of students. So for example, for the high achieving students, I wanted them to be able to have an opportunity to have early completion of high stake assessments and to reward them for their exceptionalism. As for the academically challenged students, I wanted to give them additional time to complete high stake assessments and of course to give them more attempts to complete those assessment items.